Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to everyone who is seeing us today. My name is Manuel Navarro, your friendly host for today, live session with ProcessMaker, and today we have a pretty nice session where we will be learning a lot about our latest features on the summer release of our platform. So for today, we have a couple of examples that we will be playing with. We are gonna be working with our new designer. We are gonna see how you can start working with our new controls. We're gonna have a look on how we can create mobile screens as well. We'll be looking for the new elements in our forms, our video capture component, or our photo capture component as well. We will be looking at PM blocks and a lot of exciting stuff, right? This is going in conjunction with our latest stream. If you remember, guys, for those who join us in the last stream, and for those who are new, I invite you as well to join our ProcessMaker channel so you can have a look on all those exciting elements and new features that we are releasing. So from in the last session, we were looking at our process modeler based on natural language. But today we're gonna have a look on how you can actually modify those processes, how you can actually modify and drive through the new designer module in ProcessMaker. So let's not wait. Let's not make wait to our audience, and let's begin with it. So I'm just gonna log in into our ProcessMaker platform, and the first element I just want you to notice is if you look at it on the screen in the bottom right part of the screen, you are gonna see a new element. You are seeing here our chat assistants, our AI chat assistants, and we're gonna play a bit with it. But this is one of those elements I just want to highlight in the latest version of the platform, and we're gonna be playing with it in a minute. So a few elements just want you to notice. And to start with, let's go directly into our designer module, right? So let's click on the designer module and let's go to our new and renovated canvas. So I'm gonna click here in process, and I'm gonna select one of these processes we have here. For example, let's pick this one, our auto loan request. I'm gonna use this template just as an example for you guys to start playing with one of these processes we have for you already pre-packaged, already for use for your instance. So here I'm gonna add, this is live session. This is our session of the 15, right? 0915. I'm gonna save this one. Let's wait just for a second while we get the process and we create it automatically. So a few elements I just want you to notice. For those who have seen before our platform, I want you to notice a few elements that we have changed. For example, if you notice, we don't have any panel to the left or to the right. So we have a renovated and huge canvas where we can play with it, right? So here we have way much more space in our screen. We can navigate through it. And a few elements I just want you to know, and as well to show you during today's session, is how you can navigate through the canvas. So if you want to move your process around your screen, you just need to click in the space bar, and as you can see here in the screen, you can see the mouse, it changed to a hand. So just clicking on the space bar and clicking on the canvas, you can move around your process map. This is a renovated experience we have here in the designer, and another element that is really interesting and important to master is the minimap. So this is the best way to navigate through the process. So click on the space bar, moving the canvas, and definitely pointing the specific elements you want to highlight directly in the minimap. If you look at it, once I click in each of these elements, the canvas center automatically the view through the element I am selecting or I am highlighting in the minimap. And why this is useful, for example, when you're doing a presentation, when you're reviewing that process with your business users, you really want to focus on specific elements while you're talking, right? So look at how easy it is to navigate, for example, to the element that is going to review the decision whether to approve or reject this form. Or if you want to focus directly into the approved notification within the application, you just have to click on top of the minimap and it appears in the screen. So this is a really cool way to navigate through the platform, and I hope you like it, guys. This is something that we have included in the latest version of the platform, next to the zoom in and zoom out. Before in previous version, you found these controls in the top right part of the screen. Right now, it's in the left below part of the screen. So pretty interesting way to navigate through the platform. So, and let's continue. So one of those improvements that we have in our latest version as well is how we manage the different controls that are available for the process modeler. For those who have played with ProcessMaker before, you found the controls or the different elements in the left part of the screen in a menu. Right now, our menu it's way much cleaner. We have an option here to hide and show. And look at this one. I can click here on add or close, and my panel is going to be available in here. And which are those elements that we have changed in here? For example, we have a tailored design or a tailored experience where you can actually select which are those elements in the process map that you want to play with, that you want to work with. So look at this one. This is a completely new UI without any configuration, and you can start selecting which are those objects that you want or that you use the most during your process design activities, right? So for example, I always use pools, I always use gateways, I always use tasks, I always use end events, start events, and maybe here I used to use some decision task and send email task. These are the 6-7 elements I use the most. I don't need all those elements in a menu always showing to the left part of my screen, so I can just simply hide it and have it available here in the menu below in the below section of the canvas. This is really undiluted experience, way much more tailored design. So our end users, our business users who get into the platform and create their own processes, they can select the elements they are interested on. So this is another change that we have. And another element that is really interesting for in the new updates on the platform, it's actually the menu that you used to have in the right part of the screen, where you have all the configuration settings and so on. So for example, right now, if we pick the send approved notification of this process, you can find here a hamburger icon where you can just click on it and you can see the configuration elements or each of the sections or each of the controls that you have within the modeler. So you can close the element, you're gonna have more space, you can open it in here, and then you're gonna have all the different sections that you are used to have in the modeler. So this is a way much better experience, way more simpler experience, and definitely we are looking for you guys to start playing with our new UI and having a more simple experience to create your own processes. And last but not least, let's have a look on our chat assistants. And why this is important? Because creating a process might be a simple task for some of us, that we understand what is the flow of information, that we understand what is the business problem, so we can start dragging and dropping different elements. This is something interesting as well. For example, if I want to add a new element into the canvas, right? Beforehand, the experience was a drag and drop experience. Right now, it's more like a click and drop experience. So look at this one. I click here in task. I can select the configuration or the specific type of task I am referring to. Now that I am ready, I just have to drop the element within the canvas. So no more drag and drop. Right now is click and drop. So you can just simply select the element, select the configuration, which is the element, the configuration you need. Look at this one. It also works for all the different gateways that we support. And you just have to select, drag and drop, and then configure here in the hamburger icon. How cool is that? Please leave us your reactions and comments and all those amazing features in the chat. We are here to answer your questions and as well to receive your love, guys. So next to this, let's continue seeing why this chat is useful, what you are doing, some processes. For example, for our business users who are start playing with the platform, it's very important for them to understand how they can configure the way you drive the flow, right? That's not an easy question if you are new into the platform, but that's why we have our chatbot assistants right here, ready for you to answer your questions that you have. And here's where we can start playing with, right? So here we can ask our chatbot how I can configure the process flow on my ProcessMaker instance, right? So I'm just sending that question to our chatbot, and he's getting through all the documentation we have. He's creating a nice answer for you. He's collecting all the different resources that we have, and he's giving you the appropriate answer that you need for that specific challenge that you are working with. For example, here you have all the details that you have to click in the process modeler and the sequence flow, all the different elements that are important for you to always be aware of the platform. And look at this one. It's not just the answer. He is pointing you directly into the documentation element that you need to follow in order to know or in order to answer your question. And this is actually pretty updated, and we have lots of documentation for you guys here, so you can start playing with. For example, in next week we're gonna have a session where we will be looking at decision tasks, and decision tasks are also part of those documentations that are available in our chatbot. So this new feature, the design, the decision tables, is also available for you to query within our chat. Here, for example, how to configure decision tables. And the chatbot is going through our documentation and it's giving me all the details that I need to know to use this cool feature. We're gonna have a look at that feature in our next session, so don't miss the next session that we have in the next week. Please subscribe again into our channel so you don't miss it, and we can see live how to configure and how to use a decision task. So far, you can see here, everybody, that the documentation and the chat is pretty responsive in all the queries and things that you are asking. So it's easier for our end users just to jump in the platform and start playing with it. How cool is that, right? So I'm just gonna save this one, and it's gonna show you guys that all the different questions and elements that you are doing are gonna be here, always being stored, so you can come back and remember which are those elements that you have asked before, and then you're gonna have your own knowledge base for you to start playing with the platform. This is a very cool feature. So that's what we have regarding our chat experience. And let's continue working with this one. Let's continue playing with this example. Let's have a look at another new feature that we have in here. Let's have a look, for example, here in what we call our mobile screen compatible. Let's see what does that mean. Here, for those who have seen the platform before, I'm gonna jump into into this form, I have for this start event, for this web entry event. This is one of those events, one of those features we have in the platform. This is what we call a web entry, which is basically a web form that you can have accessible, whether if it's anonymous or an authenticated user. So you can share this digital form within your web page or your intranet. And here we're going to have a look on the form that we have in this specific template, in this automobile loan template. I'm going to show you how you can configure the mobile experience. For example, this is a process that was configured and that was meant to be useful or meant to be rendered in in a in a desktop view, right? So you can see sections of three different columns, way much bigger for a bigger screen. But what if I want to have a look on a mobile? Maybe the mobile, as you can see, is not the best experience, right? Because this is configured for the desktop view. But right now we have a great option, so we can start having within the same screen the two experiences we want unified in one single asset, in one single screen. So you can have one screen with the configuration required to show specific sections of a form, whether in mobile or in a desktop view. And why we would like to have this option, why we would like to have this differentiator? Because one of those challenges that we have seen with our customers is that the mobile experience, it's a lighter experience. It's an experience that doesn't have all those controls, that doesn't have all the questions and all the fields that a desktop experience might have. So in this case, what we want is to use the same form with specific controls to be hide and show based on the device that is accessing the platform. And this is way much useful when you have these web forms, right? When you have these web entries, because you can access, your customer can access to the processes in the platform in a mobile view. And it's pretty easy to use. For example, look at this one. This is a form that was optimized for text view, as I mentioned. Look at it. It has the logo on the left side. It has the titles on the right side, and it looks good in the desktop, but in the mobile it looks shrink. And it makes sense because for those who knows about design, it's always useful to have different columns and different elements to help us to go through it. So how easy, for example, is to configure a new header for an only mobile experience? Let's do it live. So I'm gonna select this multi-column element, and look at it. I'm gonna clone it, right? Now I have it here. Clone my element, right? I'm gonna move it into the top of the screen, right? So let me just move it into the top of the screen. I'm just gonna put it in here, and I'm gonna start reorganizing this. I'm gonna leave this guy just in two columns. I'm gonna change it in here. This is the way I can change the format of my columns. This is a JSON array, which allow us to configure the columns that we have in the platform. This is a 12 column element. Look at this one. Here we have two of them. But the nice thing in here is this. Here you have in the design option, in the advanced option, here you have an option where you can whether decide if this is available for desktop or for mobile view. In this case, because this is a simpler way to have a header, I'm gonna select the simpler header just for mobile. I'm gonna hide it for desktop. And the one from desktop, I'm gonna do the same, but just enabling for the desktop and hiding it for mobile. We're gonna publish this form, which is part of this process we just have in our templates, and let's have a look on it, how this is looking. Look at this one. We have the same experience, right, in the desktop that we have seen. But if I click on mobile, look at how it changes, right? It shows the whole titles. It shows the whole icon. So it respects the aspect ratio of the device. It automatically renders the elements, and it allows us to have just one single form with all the elements we need for all the devices. So let's go a bit further than that into the into this example. Another useful way to see this feature is, for example, in these specific forms that are configured for a desktop view. 3 columns is fine for a desktop view, definitely not the best one for a mobile view, right? So, for example, we can just pick and choose that this specific section, the personal information, will be available in this layout. Will be available only for desktop, not for mobile. We can do pretty much the same here for this other section. And let's hide this, the permanent address. Let's hide completely this element for the mobile, right? So let's hide all this section just for the mobile. Let's just leave it for the desktop, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have another section. I'm going to create a new section in here, right? With just 2 columns, and actually just make it, let's make it easier. Let's do it in just one single column for the mobile, so it's easier in that experience. So I'm going to select that specific multi-column table, and I'm going to show this multi-column table only for mobile. And I'm going to ask in here all those fields that I was asking before for these forms. So I'm going to select here a select list, right? This is my select list for the title, and I'm going to select the first name and the last name. So just drag and drop 2 of these ones. I'm going to change it in here. I'm going to say this is title, and I can have the different titles here. I can talk about the name, and this is last name, right? This is last name. And let's save this one. Let's publish it, and let's have a look on how it changes in our form. So let's preview. Look at this one, the desktop view with the personal information and the section of trees completely full our form. But now let's change into the mobile experience and look at how it changes. It's way much simpler. That's pretty much the experience we want to have in a mobile view, right? How cool is it that you can have just one single form with all your fields, and you can select whether to show or whether to hide without having to have 2 screens or without having to have 2 forms, right? So this is our new mobile experience. And once we publish this one, let's have a look on it. Once we publish this one, we can actually live see how that works. So for example, let me copy this guy. I'm gonna open an incognito window, and I'm gonna start this with entry. Look at the desktop view. It's pretty cool, isn't it? And let's try to have a look on a mobile view, right? Let's try to have a look on a mobile view. Just 1 second. Let's have a look in a mobile view. Here I'm going to change it to a mobile view, right? Look at this one. It automatically changes, right? So for those who didn't notice it, this is the desktop view. And if you can take your browser, you can jump into the configuration of your browser, right? In this case, I can see the configuration of my browser and I can change it to a mobile configuration, and it automatically gets the configuration of the browser and renders the form just with the fields that we are looking for the mobile experience. What is how great is this one when you have your processes, they are ready to share in a mobile experience without having to have more than one screen at the same time. And this is working live with one of our templates. So these templates and these processes that you have created, they can be easily configured for that mobile experience, right? So just to start, let's start checking the different things that we have seen. We have seen a collapsible experience with all the different menus that we have. So we can show it, we can hide it, we can configure and personalize our object bar. Actually, we can zoom in, we can zoom out, we can show a mini map on this. We can navigate through the platform. We have a new form experience where I can select and configure as well different controls to be shown in mobile or not. And this is just the half of the things that we have for you today, guys, because we're gonna jump into two new controls that we have added into our form builder. Yes, two new controls. Which are those controls that we have added? We have added a video control and a photo control. And why this is nice and why I would like to have these two specific controls. Well, you can imagine how many applications we can have with these two specific controls. For example, in the same example that we are playing with, this is basically a loan request. Usually, any request requires some kind of onboarding from our user, right? Requires some kind of information from the user. And the closer we want to have our customer, the closer we want to give them the experience of the platform, the most information we will need from it. So there are many processes and there are many specific procedures that we would like to onboard our customers, and we need information from it, for such as, for example, an ID verification. Or maybe I will need just to take a picture of a payment slip if I am creating an expense approval process. So, or if you are thinking of creating a process for a county, maybe you need to onboard the citizen within the platform. So there are many use cases on these two specific controls, these two great specific controls that we will be looking at it today right now. And here we have our photo video control that I can just drag and drop in here, and I have it here just ready to configure. And how we can configure this control? So let's have a look on it. So for example, here you have in the configuration element, you can define whether to capture a photo or a video. So directly in your device, you can take a picture with your camera on your desktop or with your camera on your cell phone, or or if you need to capture a video, you can actually capture a video live on it. So not just for onboarding experience, think as well in a quality control process that maybe you want to register the auditing process you are performing in a specific work area or for a specific product. So you might want to have a photo, you might want to have a video. Right now, what we have in previous versions was just the file picker. Right now, you can capture the video completely live within the application. You can upload overlays for this. You can have helper text, and actually This is something really cool that we will be showing you in next versions as well. In a different, in another live session, you can actually send this specific file, send these photo files to our IDP component. Yes, our OCR components, our IDP platform, which is amazing part of our offering. You can connect these controls directly to our intelligent document processing component. So let's have a look on how this looks like. If I click here on preview, I can see here directly, look at this one. Here I have the camera, and you can see me live. You can see me in the two cameras here at one side and here directly in my form. So it's getting the information from the camera, and you can just click here, take a picture, and upload a picture within the process. And this is in the same form that we were playing with the automobile form. So, and as well, if I click in here, I can change the configuration for this. If I want to, what I want to do is just to save it as a video. And if I click on preview, look at this one. Here you have pretty much the same experience. You have the camera, you have the section, so you can easily add this control to your form. You can just click here and record, and the system start recording the different actions. So think on an interview, think on a quality process, think on a board experience. There are many use cases that can apply to this specific feature, and this is one of these elements that we want to show you guys today in our live session, right? So, and this is a control that actually works pretty well and pretty neat as well into our mobile experience. For example, one of these use cases we have, normally in mobile is you need to provide some kind of proof of address, right? And the proof of address are really cool when you have, for example, an utility bill or something that has your address. Having these controls within the forms will help you to capture that information. So for example, let me show you how it looks like a form that will capture a proof of address instead of the information of a permanent address if it's just in mobile, which is going to be a different experience from the desktop. So let's go here in preview. Look at this one where we have the personal information. All the let me hide this one. Let me hide this one. Just 1 second. Here it is. Let's give it a bigger paragraph. Yes, proof of address. Let's hide this control as well. Just showing for mobile. Next to this one, just showing for mobile. So you're gonna notice the difference between these two different renders using the same form. Desktop view, complete personal information, information regarding permanent address. But if it's mobile, let's make our mobile users their life simpler. So less fields, personal information, and actually the proof of address via a photo. So pretty neat, pretty simple. 4 controls are getting the same information, ready for you in a mobile experience and ready in a process. So another of those amazing features we have in our summer release, right? So I'm just gonna pausing here from our different features that we have in the screen builder, and I'm gonna jump into another feature that we call the PM blocks, which is an amazing control, an amazing improvement that we have had in the platform that will help us a lot to wrap up complex scenarios and complex processes in a simpler way to distribute our developments and our flows within instances and within our users. So show us some love in our chat, guys. We would love to hear your comments and to see your reactions while we are showing this. So let's move on into this and let's start playing with it. Right now in the designer view, for those who has seen the platform before, you can see here the process that we are used to play with. Right now you can see the templates where you can see which are the process flows that we preload into the platform, so they are ready to use. But next to that, here you have something that we call the PM blocks. And what is a PM block? Basically, a PM block, it's a way for you to wrap up and distribute complex process and make it reusable across the process maps. And why this is useful? Think on complex processes such as an integration with a core system, or maybe you want to manage communication between 2 or 3 systems. Those are actions that are not really business oriented. They are more technical. They are a specific task of managing data. So those are the kind of things that you want to provide your user, but your user is not interested in how it's built. It's more interested on that actually they work. They are not going to go into the details how this was built or not. Your end users are going to be interested on having an option to communicate with their systems, to integrate with A, B, and C, to execute complex specific tasks in a simpler way. So the PM blocks will allow us to wrap up complex processes and distribute it. And we have here plenty of examples, and we're going to start with just a simple one, a simple and a basic a simple and basic concept of a process that has an element that is not so popular among the business users, which are basically scripting. So here I have an example. Here I have a calculator process. This is just a simple example for you to show you how this works. And this is a process that basically has a script that executes an operation, right? So I'm gonna open here this script just to show you a bit of how this script is built. We are just taking information from an operator, a couple of numbers, and we are executing a first grade operation, right? We are executing an add, a subtract, a multiply, a divide. And this is just a simple example to show you how it looks like, but definitely this can work with integrations with APIs, with more complex process. But this is just to walk you through the way this specific feature works, right? And here we have the process. Everything starts with a process. So here you have a process where you have this specific task that is built in a script. So maybe you don't want to, you are not interested on providing much more details on this to the business user. The only thing you want to provide to your users, it's actually an option to execute that specific task or that specific action. So the first step you need to do is to create a process, right? And once you have created that process, you can come back in here and you can select the process that you have created, right? So here I have the calculator process, and I can click in here. I'm gonna say save as PM block, and I'm gonna save it as a calculator live. This is our calculator that we build into our live session today, the 15th. This is our first PM block. I can select an icon. Let's pick a calculator, right? I'm gonna select the name, ProcessMaker. This is the second version of this one. I can select whether the category it is, and the system is gonna start publishing my block. Look at a few elements that are relevant in here. For example, here I have an option to configure the panel or the elements that get into the block as part of the configuration. For example, here I'm gonna need to send the different parameters to my block, right? If you remember, this is a block that basically execute first grade operation and receive information such as an operator, number one, and number two. So I'm gonna send that information in here, right? So I'm gonna configure this one. I'm gonna configure this specific block with the operator field. I'm gonna say here number one, right? I'm gonna say here number two. Look at it. All my parameters are ready in the PM block. I'm gonna leave this one. This is the field that we will be using to name our PM block within the form, within the process flow. And I'm gonna save. I'm not gonna show you the environment variables and other sections down the road. But now the block is here. Look at this. When the calculator live is here. Now, how can I use this block? So I'm gonna go here to the designer. I'm gonna click on process, and I'm gonna start my process on my own, right? I'm gonna say this is the calculator live process using the PM block calculator, right? I'm gonna select Manuel as an admin of this process, and I'm gonna save it, right? Look at this one. Now I have the option to start playing with my process, to start building my process using the different elements that I have configured in my tailored experience on the modeler. So I'm gonna first I'm gonna select my pool. I'm gonna add in here a start event, right? And I can pick in here my first task, which is gonna capture the information from the numbers and the operator I will be using. And the second task in here will be execute the calculator, right? And if I click in here on the add button, here I'm gonna have all the different controls, but as well, I'm gonna have an option to access my PM blocks. Look at this one. Here I have my calculator, the one I have just done. I'm gonna click on it, I'm gonna drag and drop, and here I have my calculator ready to use. So I can distribute complex processes such as integrations to all our users without having to go into the details of how this was built. It's just a simple block, a simple black box that anyone can just drag and drop and use within your process. So let's continue with example. Here I have a third action, which is going to show the result of the calculation and an end event, right? So let's start configuring the flow in here. Sorry for the lines. I know they are not 100% aligned. So let's just make it look way much better. Yes, here we have the first one. Here we have the second one. Here we have the third one. And the fourth one. And I'm gonna change the name in here to get params. I'm gonna select get params, right? Here I'm gonna select the screen I already have. This is a screen that I already have with the parameters. Let's have a look on that screen, how it looks like. Look at this one. This is a neat form. 3 numbers, number one, operator, number two, right? This is already configured for this simple example. This is the get parameters. I'm gonna select this one, the show result, right? This is the show result. It's already in there. Now I have my screen. Let's change this one, show result, right? And here I have my PM block. Let's start playing with it. In the name, let's select, here I can change the name of the block. So I'm gonna say this is a task called execute calculator, right? Execute calculator. This is the task I wanna show. Then I'm gonna need to send different parameters, right? So here in the screen, we have number one, operator, and number two. So I'm gonna configure these elements, operator, number one, number two, right? Cool. And last but not least, let's configure the permissions. I'm gonna select the user. Let's use a different user. Let's use the admin user. Right now I'm with my user. So I'm just gonna select the admin user and I'm gonna publish this guy. Now we have a process with different elements, such as a PM block and screens, all together in one simple experience. So I'm gonna log in. I'm gonna play with the process. Let's see how this works. Just gonna close these windows. I'm gonna log in here as an admin. Right? I'm gonna click in here. I'm gonna select here calculator. Here we have it. Calculator. It should be here. Let me confirm. Where is my calculator process? This is the calculator live. It's called calculator live. Here it is. Look at this one. Here's my calculator live process. And I'm going to click on it. Here's my first task. I'm just going to close right now. This is a part of our new features. This is our in-app announcements. So I'm just going to close it for a moment. I'm going to click here on get params to go through our first task. And I'm going to just select, let's just do a simple operation. Let's a multiplication. 2 multiply 5. I'm going to execute that task. System should be going through the task. It's being performed and it says shows results. Look at this one. The calculator just execute the action that we have done. And let's have a look on a few elements that are part of this new experience. It's not as simple as just having a result of a calculator. Actually, there's a lot of elements in the middle. Let me show to you, for example, here in our new experience, we have a live InFlight map experience within the platform. This is new in our summer version. Right here, you can see details about who completed the action, the time that it took to be completed, the different steps that has been executed. Look at this one. Here's the block that has been executed, and this is the task that is currently executing, right? Here you have the task that is in progress, and you have all the details regarding the process. So it's not just the PM block as well. We have a new in-flight experience within the process that works pretty neat with our PM blocks. So just to finish, let's show the results and close the process. Let's jump into the overview map, right? You can see here the process already completed in our new navigation UI. So you can start playing with the platform and you can actually have a visual aid of where your requests are going through. So this is what we have for today, guys. We are 45 minutes right now of our session, and I hope you like it. And definitely we will have more live sessions with our summer version, showing great features, showing great functionality that we have for all of you to play and to start working with ProcessMaker. So don't forget to subscribe to receive notifications about our events, and I hope you have a great evening, night, and day for those who are connected with us at the moment. So thank you very much. Bye bye.